In the early decades of the 20th century, immigrants poured into the country. And for many, Pittsburgh was a destination with opportunity. Often the men came first, found jobs, and then sent for their families. For many, their first home was in the Hill District. The family unit was strong and often extended to include relatives and neighbors.
During that time, you had extended family, because I lived with my grandparents, my mother and father, my sister, my cousin, my uncle.
Us children at the table, we were supposed to talk Italian, not English. My dad used to get mad about it when we'd talk English. He wanted to know what it was all about.
It was set more or less on a close family tie. You had that tie between your family. Our place was the meeting place for the family. Everybody would come to our house.
At that time, neighbors got to be like families. Miss Pino would make a big bowl of spaghetti and hand it over the fence to my mother. My mother loved to bake. And so she would bake cakes or pies and hand them over the fence to Miss Pino. And this is how people got along then. It was just wonderful coming up where we came up in the mixed neighborhood like that.
Housing on the hill was generally old, overcrowded, and run down.
We lived on the first floor. We had 3 rooms, 2 large rooms and a kitchen. And the second floor was rented to a family that also had 4 children. And she had 4 rooms. But because she felt she didn't need the 4th room, she needed the money towards her rent, she rented the 4th room to a boarder.
It was a row house first, all attached to each other. So the Hill District was a nice area, especially the handiness of Washington Park across the street. Well, my mother would always know where to look for me when I would disappear.
Often, families would live above businesses.
We have a steakhouse at 1804 Center Avenue. It was a specialty house, and the performers from the Stanley Theater would come up after their work hours and perform. They'd have a jam session, and since we lived above the restaurant, I'd stand up in bed and hop around and dance to the music.
Making ends meet was a family affair. Women's lives were often difficult. They not only took care of their families, but oftentimes ran businesses as well.
She worked in a business. My father would be on the road. She'd be there making sure that the trucks got loaded and the phone was answered and merchandise was received, and still take care of kids.
My mother would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so she can prepare our breakfast. And if it was a holiday, she would start baking at 5 o'clock in the morning.
My mother provided for all of us. Took in washing and ironing, sewing. She made her clothes.
Despite hardships, children always found time for play.
We used to play kick the can at night. We used to go out at night. We were never afraid. We'd get to the corners and have a can and kick it and then run the bases. We had a good time. We really did.
There must be something stressful about sitting for a class picture. Just look at those faces. Fortunately, school on the hill was a much more positive experience than those dour expressions would lead one to believe. School was, in fact, the key to opportunity.
Everybody that lived within the neighborhood went to the neighborhood school. And most of us went all the way through school, even graduated from high school together.
It was surprising how well we got along with each other. That is, the kid would play with kids from any nationality.
The teacher was always right. If you were disciplined in school, you didn't come home and tell them that because you'd be disciplined some more. And there was great reverence for the teacher.
Adelina Benedetti attended Epiphany School. Run by the Sisters of Mercy, it was the main Catholic school on the hill. Adelina remembers how the family struggled with school expenses.
I'd say, Mom, I need a nickel for a tablet. She said, I don't have it. I can't give it to you. So here my name would be put on the blackboard. And yeah, I owed a nickel for a tablet.
School in the 1920s had a decidedly practical side. Do you remember vocational training? In the 1920s, it was a real hands-on experience. And from these pictures, we see that home economics was pretty intense too.
When I went to school, I learned how to use my hands. That's when you learn how to use a saw, and you had to use a plane, use a hammer.
In spite of this practical bent, there was still time for creative endeavors, like music. And of course, time to play.
Every day. Go to school, play ball at school, leave school, go up to the settlement house, play ball again, go at night and play ball.
Fifth Avenue High was the destination of those who made it through elementary school. For William Ruano, Fifth Avenue High became the gateway to college.
I was fortunate enough to be chosen the valedictorian of the class. And my mother was so proud of me. She invited all her Italian friends. Oh, you got to go to the commencement. You see Willie. He's gonna give a talk.
The Franklin School and other institutions provided classes for adults. Here, immigrants could learn to read and write English. School was indeed an important part of the Hill environment. The 1920 census provides us with a vivid portrait of the Hill community. Under place of birth, we find Russia, Hungary, Louisiana, and a host of other locations that testify to the ethnic diversity of the neighborhood. This conclusion is supported by other sources, like photographs and oral histories.
Irish, Italians, Negroes, Lebanese, Syrians, good mixture. We all got along together.
Many immigrants started out as peddlers, including Michael Ayub's father.
He and my mother were both peddling. He met her in Willamerdine in 1895, 100 years ago. They fell in love and they eloped to Youngstown and got married.
From the census, we see that by 1920, the family was living at 1016 Elm Street, and Michael's father, H.K. Ayub, and brother Thomas were working as salesmen in the produce yards. Michael remembers how his father, who came from Lebanon, got into business for himself.
They had an Italian man rooming with them who introduced my father into the produce business. That's how we started.
The Strip District was a busy wholesale center, and Michael's father opened his produce business there.
They called him the Watermelon King when he was operating.
Michael, shown here at a testimonial banquet, entered the business in 1922. And the business still exists in the heart of the Strip District. From the census, we find that the Benedetti family lived at 38 Fullerton Street. Although many families had roomers at that time, none are listed at the Benedetti residence. Adelina remembers them well, however.
My mother had roomers, and she had 7 of them, I think, at one time, just to keep us going. Every time somebody would come from Italy, they would suggest my mother's place. And so my mother would say, all right, I have a room here if you just want to stay here. And they did.
Adelina attended Epiphany School in the Hill, but she left school around the 6th grade to help her mother at home, and later worked with her father at the Pittsburgh ice cream factory.
Dad was the ice cream maker, and I was in the brick room. Then the Eskimo pies came out, and so they put that upstairs. And so they took me from downstairs, they put me upstairs to dip the Eskimo pies in chocolate.
Mill worker, rabbi, chauffeur. From the census, we see that there was a large variety of jobs for Hill residents.
When I was young, I shined shoes. That's way back. Then I learned how to be a porter. I worked at Wabash Station. Then I worked at ramp building. During the war, I worked in a mill.
Although life was difficult, people have fond memories of the Hill.
Yeah, we used to put in a lot of hours in days. 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And we enjoyed it. Kind of agreed with us.
the 1920s, Pittsburgh's Pennsylvania Railroad was bustling with new arrivals. The platform was crowded with European immigrants and African American migrants from the South. They came seeking jobs and a better life. The Travelers Aid Society through the Urban League and the YWCA met people there and helped them to find housing in the Hill. The Urban League also helped African Americans find employment and provided legal assistance. In the Hill, settlement houses like Kingsley House and the Irene Kaufman Settlement addressed issues such as housing conditions, nutrition, healthcare, education, and community life. People have fond memories of the IKS, which was a central meeting place for the Jewish community.
We all met down there, and there was dancing there for the kids, you know, and our parents always knew where we were.
They had a big swimming pool and gym there, and developed wonderful athletic teams, in part as a means of getting out of the ghetto. Swimming was my particular sport, and it put me through college.
Religious institutions helped to unite the community. One of the many churches on the hill was St. Bridget's. Although Irish in origin, the congregation worked to serve the growing ethnic population. Bethel African Methodist Episcopal is the oldest African American congregation west of the Alleghenies and was located on the corner of Elm and Wiley.
Old Bethel set, right in the spot where the Civic Arena is now. And I remember when the wrecking ball hit the church that day, I think all of us cried that were there because it had so many memories. I had married there, all of my children had been baptized there. So I think that is the most memorable thing that I remember that affected me greatly.
Masiki Hadass, an Orthodox Galitzin shul on Wiley and Granville, is a source of memories for Sidney Santman. He gave his bar mitzvah speech there.
I can still remember the beginning of it. I can't remember the rest of it. It started out, Würdiger Rebbe Leiter, Heint is my 13. Geburtstag und für jetzt tun wir es verantwortlich für alle meine Massen, which means worthy rabbis and teachers. Today is my 13th birthday, and from now on, I'm responsible for all of my sins.
The Wiley Avenue branch of the Carnegie Library provided books in many languages. Here, children from all nationalities would gather for educational and social activities.
Librarians would go around like this all the time. It was fun. It was fun.
Another landmark in the Hill District was the Pittsburgh Courier. Located on Center Avenue, it was one of the nation's premier African American newspapers. The medical needs of Hill residents were provided for by hospitals such as Passavant. Founded in 1849 by William Passavant, this hospital catered to all ethnic groups. They had a large obstetrics unit and delivered 414 babies in 1924 alone. There were also many places to have fun on the hill. At Greenlee Field, Hill residents enjoyed watching the Pittsburgh Crawfords play the Homestead Grays and other African American baseball teams that barnstormed around the country. The Hill provided many new arrivals to Pittsburgh with their first home. Although poor, these diverse people worked together and formed a strong, vibrant community